Hello, I'm Ethan Rodriguez, but I go by Ethan Andrew. I'm this year's winner for My House Music Festival. Super excited. So I started DJing when I was around, let's go 12. I don't like to say the 11 and a half. When I was 12 years old, I kind of got into it because of my Dio and my dad. They used to DJ like the 90s and, you know, early 2000s-ish. Obviously, I was a baby at the time, but for me, it was kind of cool just growing up being able to see two people who were super, well, inspiring to me, and kind of seeing them do something that they enjoyed doing made me get that passion for it. So, 12. My first memory would be we actually have a little kind of built-in bar in my Dio's house, and we used to have little house parties there, and my family would always be, you know, just kicking it, being in there. It was a lot of fun, and they would be playing a lot of Chicago house music. It was super fun. It was definitely something that I'll never forget, and that was something that kind of gave me that passion to start, for sure. Definitely, I used to weirdly, before I entered in the DJ Scratch Academy, Chicago, I used to read like Michael Jordan quotes and stuff like that, just to kind of get me a little pumped, because he's a legend, and I thought if I'm gonna be one, I kind of have to have a certain process. But then I realized I have to make my own, and mine is just to kind of breathe, relax, and go with the flow and see how the crowd is that night. Depending on what it is, if I'm gonna be playing at a bar, or club, or festival, but just trying to do what people will enjoy, hopefully. Well, for me, kind of like how I said earlier, is with my family doing it, that was something where it was so big that people never realized, like, hey, there's a whole community of DJs. And for me, seeing that was something where I thought I could fit in, because when I was growing up, I wasn't really into sports and stuff like that. Music was always my thing. And obviously there's so many genres, but to me, house was just like my specialty, and I enjoyed playing with it and enjoyed creating and producing it. So I guess I got it from my family and just them having such a great background. For me personally, I have the challenge of my age, because I just turned 20 in May. So it's kind of hard getting into certain places because of, that. But for the most part, I've been blessed, and I've been working hard to kind of get into whatever I can get. And I know that a lot of people have been behind me and been super supportive, like you guys and others as well. But I'm just truly grateful to have so many opportunities ahead of me and just see what the future holds. Musically, it's crazy because my father is a super big hip hop head, and my mother is like really into rock en español. So I used to listen to Café Tacuba a lot because I really liked their sound, like that, the bass, and how it was super unique. And then with my dad, it was just kind of listening to different beats, like by DJ Premier and like Raekwon. It's crazy because there's so many elements that could be put into one genre. And then you think about house, and even though neither of those two are close to that, you kind of think about something from here and something from there, and you put it together, and it just creates like this huge, little baby. And it was like my baby, so it's a lot of fun. I love it. Well, I definitely, like I said, with different types of genres at all, there's different backgrounds that go into each one. But for house, I definitely try to just have a good time, It's super high energy. A lot of it is from 120 BPM, could be to 130 or even lower. There's no technicality to it. That's what's kind of awesome, is that it could be a little bit of anything. But it's a lot of fun to mess with, because to me, once I start playing house, people really start to get into this groove. And like a normal BPM, like of our heart rate, would be around 100. So then speeding it up to 120 is kind of jockeying it up as if we were jogging. So it's like a little good workout, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun. So hopefully people enjoy dancing and burning some calories too, I guess. So for me, as far as songs, I know there's a whole lot of like elements that go into that. But as far as artists and just the genre itself, like I used to write reports on just house music alone and for high school, and I'm not in college. I studied just music and went into studios and stuff like that, thanks to DJ Scratch Academy as well. And I know you guys are familiar with him, Boy Genius, Toadstyle, DJ Sen, a lot of them. I could keep going on and on, but they showed me that you have to respect the roots, and learning about Frankie Knuckles and the Warehouse, all that stuff going on in the late 70s, that kind of built up this path for us. And by us, I mean us artists who are still trying to put a name out for ourselves. And because of them, we're able to do that now and kind of make way for future generations. And so you have to definitely respect your elders and understand where you came from in order to build and keep going forward, which I think house will keep going forever, for sure. So for house music now, it's definitely expanding. On the way here, I was just talking to my mother because we were listening to the radio, and we were listening to Diplo's Radio Revolution, I think it's called. And it's crazy because there's so many subgenres that are like being created and that are just being well known now, Like you wouldn't really hear a lot of people listening to these subgenres like bass house, and there's acid house and industrial and all this stuff. It's crazy. So in order for these to keep spreading, there just has to be more artists that come in, which I think is really happening now. Because, myself included, I'm just super into this movement that's been happening in the past decade, I would say, that's been growing and growing. And so I just can't wait to see what future holds for house. And I definitely think the industry is going to keep going, like I said, for sure. Well, for me, it's kind of funny because whenever there's a mix, I'll just listen to the songs over and over and over, depending on how long it is, especially. If it's like an hour mix, I try to fit in almost 50 songs into it, so I'll just listen to those 50 nonstop. And but whenever it's just trying to relax or just listening to vinyl or anything like that, I really love listening to like Johnny Cash. It's very soothing to me, even though it's kind of like aggressive sometimes. I love his voice. I think it's super unique. And then just listening to like certain remixes as well, because then you kind of see how one song can be even better, at times, because, we try to get our own little flavor and taste into something. And then once you create it, you think, oh man, you could like definitely do something else with this. So then that's kind of something I enjoy doing as well, listening to remixes too. I've been working on a lot of original music. It's kind of difficult because I actually have a part-time with my father in downtown, but I definitely try to put whatever time I have in because, as a young artist, I have to constantly keep working, and I know that it takes hard work to make it in the industry, into the music industry, and it's a lot of fun because when you're making your own music, you definitely see what kind of person you are as far as patience and creativity. So my newest projects will definitely be a little bit more of my own personal ideas in these songs. So hopefully those come out cool. So you guys can definitely expect to see good music, that's one thing. And also a lot of different types of house, because I really, really do appreciate listening to old school and Chicago house. But I kind of want to expand a little bit, especially as a young artist. I just want to show that there's a lot that us, the generation, have to offer, and that, you guys are putting us in good hands, and we will keep that pedestal very high. So I'm going to try to expand a little more with these subgenres and show you guys something that you've never heard before, hopefully. So I'll actually be at House of Soul or Fiesta del Sol. I'll be performing there as well because I participated in another contest and won that too. But definitely, come out come out to this festival too. I can't wait to be playing both. I'll be at a couple other locations as well. I'll be waiting to release them on my website and stuff like that with upcoming shows, but hopefully those will be something that people remember for a long time. So my go-to is, I've been switching a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit of a cheater with my equipment because I'm kind of jumping on and off, but I used to be really big into CDJs and I had my Newmarks, but then I moved on to turntables ever since I graduated from the academy I was speaking of earlier. And so now I'm just using the Pioneers because they're the closest thing I can get to the techniques. I can't find those. Those are super hard. But, you know, respect to everyone who has a pair of their own. And for me, I'm just gonna stick with those turntables because I truly love vinyl and I love playing on records. It feels very, very unique, and it gives you a feeling where, you know, once you get to know and accomplish things that you may feel like you can't do on others, which I'm not saying you can't, because you could, it's universal, you know, but it's definitely something where when you get to learn it, you don't want to let go of it. So I would have to say my S9 mixer and as my Pioneer turntables are my go-to. So for me, growing up in Chicago, I'm from Logan Square. I've been there all 20 years, and it's kind of cool because you get to see a lot of different people and like their backgrounds, because you know, Logan has been growing a lot lately. Like I live by Fullerton and like Pulaski-ish, just so you get like an idea. But going to the Eagle, you see a lot of different people coming out to bars and stuff like that. And me playing there, it kind of influences me to get to know my crowd a little more. So then, you know, you want to either play hip hop or even if you want to do R&B or stuff like that. So it expands your music library, and also the idea of you being able to communicate with a lot of different people from different backgrounds is a lot of fun. So Chicago is definitely a unique place with a lot of culture, and I'm really happy to be from here. When it comes to stuff like that, I like to incorporate it in the music that I'm creating. It's kind of difficult sometimes when mixing it because it could be from like 80 BPM to 120, a lot of beat matching. That's not really my thing, but I'm always willing to try it for sure. Doing all vinyl sets especially is kind of challenging at times, but when it comes to blues, you know, a lot of people don't even know, but like house, it came from disco, and obviously disco got elements from blues. So it kind of all traces back to the past. So I guess that's kind of why I'm super into it. And I like to incorporate certain things such as like guitars and like acoustic and stuff like that into my songs, because it creates this melody that you relate to in the past, but then you can kind of see building a future for it too. So that I'm kind of a cheater too. I bounce a lot from Logic Pro and I go to Ableton. But I would have to say Ableton is my go-to because at the academy, that's what they trained me with. So that one is super, super great. Shout out to DJ Marquis for helping me out with all that, because I had no idea what any of it was. Looked like a lot of alien stuff going on, but then I started to realize that it's, you know, it's a craft that you just have to get to learn, and once you learn it, you don't want to let go of it. So Ableton is my go-to now. If I were to give advice to my old self or to upcoming people, I definitely would say just talk to as many people as you can and just make connections, because, you know, honestly, it takes hard work, definitely, but there's millions of people who work maybe even harder than me, but it's all about communicating and getting to know the right people, because they're the ones who will set the stone for you. And obviously you have to work hard, because then you'll be able to prove why you deserve to be there in the first place. But definitely always talk to people and just be friendly and be kind, and yeah, I would say that. So I'll be at my House Music Festival. I will be opening. Hope to see all of you guys there. It'll be a lot of fun. I will definitely be excited to be there to show you guys what I've been working on, and hopefully, you know, we just all kind of tag along and see where we go from there. You can reach me if you do want to hear any mixes right now that I have out. I will be putting a sneak peek on Facebook, so you can find me at Ethan Andrew, and you can also see my website at djethanandrew.com. It'll have a link there with a gallery of my Mixcloud page if you're ever interested in hearing any other types of genres I've done, or any, you know, of my backgrounds with music, I guess. But yeah, if you're interested, check it out. But I will see you guys there. Can't wait to see everyone, and thank you again to My House Music Festival for having me. A lot of fun. I'm truly blessed to be this year's winner. So, yep.
I don't wanna know where you come from. I don't wanna know where you come from. I wanna take you there.